Hello, I am TigerFang and welcome to the Den. Today I'm going to bring you a loot video going over 10 hours of Asuran Arsenal, however you say it. It's the second heist that came out with 120 Thieving. It's the one that's on Anachronia. There's a lot of reasons why you're going to want to do this, but I'm going to show you some of the loot that you can expect. But the main two things are chasing from this are this new ammo slot item, which is actually untradeable, and it's the best in slot ammo item for melee, and the other one is a new tier 90 dagger. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so I do want to do a quick run through of kind of like tips and tricks on a run. So the run that's happening in the background's like a low 8-minute, not my fastest, but a very solid run. So I want to show you things that you can't see on screen. So my archaeology setup does have persistent rage, sticky fingers, and shadow grace. So this allows me to have mobility abilities up often. Super important. Persistent rage is also used to use regenerate to get your health back up. So those two things are required. Sticky fingers for the second heist has light and no effect, but this is just straight up my thieving preset, so that's what I've been using. Now this first area, there really isn't a whole lot of tech that goes on. So the first thing I'm going to call out is you do see those yellow potions in my inventory. Those are acceleration potions. And I do use them right here, right at the start. And what this is, it's kind of just quality of life. It allows me to use Surge, Bladed Dive more often without worrying about anything. So that's the first use case for them. I will show you the other use case once I get to that point. But this first standard rune is pretty straightforward. There's no insane tech here. You're just gonna loot chest, deposit codex, and move on. Now after you do this bit, there is a bit of tech that you can do for surging through the wall. So when you come up to the staircase, you're going to want to surge diagonally towards the chest from the stairs, and it'll put you right in front of it. This does take a little bit of practice, but honestly there's like 8 different tiles you could click that will all take you to this chest. And then it's just going back, getting the tablet, and then going forward. So now this part I do want to speak to a little bit more in depth. So the first part of this is you want to wait for that first cannon to shoot 4 times and then click on the 5th. Doing so, you'll avoid the fire damage, and then when you get to the other 4 coming up, you can actually one-click this as well. So what you want to wait for on that part, and you see me do it in this video, is you want to wait for the fireball just to pass you, and then click to this tile. And what this tile allows you to do is, if you're like me and you get unlucky, you're gonna have to have it, it's just gonna happen sometimes, is you're gonna have the hologram or the projector cover that area, which means you just can't walk through. So you can actually stand right there, and that allows you to just chill and wait and then proceed to the next part. So the next section has 3 parts. The first one's just waiting for the fireballs to be safe to move behind these 2 little jar things. And then after that, you want to click the lectern the exact same time as the fireball goes past you. And this will allow you to just walk through the fireballs, and it becomes super easy. After that, I do want to show this bladed dive tech. So what you can do is you bladed dive right at the end of the table and then surge. And this will allow you to skip that whole section. And this becomes super useful when you have like the hologram there and you just need to get past it. So this is one you really need to know how to do. And then after that, it's just looting the chest in the middle, chest in the right, yeah. Now, this is where I feel a lot of users or a lot of people could just do this slightly differently. But for the next section, I do the east side first, and I do the small chest, and then I surge over through the middle to the device, activate that, and then I do the 2 other chests, and then I finish with the safe. And then when I finish the safe, I do have very specific clicks that I do that allows me to surge, and then surge again, and then dive over to the next safe. After that, it's doing the chest, clicking here and surging, and then clicking here, surging again, and then bladed diving over to the safe. I then activate the device, and this is where I use the acceleration pot next, and it's just essentially doing the same thing but in reverse, and you have a few more surge spots. You do see me mess up there, so I do bladed dive to the wrong spot and then fix it with a walk, and then I surge, bladed dive towards that middle area, and then bladed dive towards the next obstacle course, and then I go up, and then I do this chest, And then I work my way over the monkey bars, and then surge, bladed dive over, loot that safe, and then make my way to the end. I will point out, if I make a mistake, I do loot the safe just to the west of the monkey bars, and do that one if I'm 35 short. You want 365 before you go to the final area, and if you have 365, you'll have 500 by the time you loot the last 3 things at the end. After that, it's just click here, surge, go over, and then bladed dive surge to the looting area, and then do the rest of the things there, and congrats, you should have a pretty good time and 500 loot. Which, at the end of this one, I did get a drop. So, back to the main thing of drops, let's go over my loot from the 10 hours, shall we? And that is the end of the 10 hours. So while I'm grabbing stuff out of the bank, I do want to go over some like average kill time. So over the 10 hours, I did average a, I say kill time, loot time of 9 minutes per run. The first 2 hours, the average time was a little over 10 minutes each. And then the final 2 hours, I was averaging a 8-minute and 28-second run, just for reference. So, and I did run this on a ult as well, with literally no gear, no nothing, just the 120 cape, and I was still getting like sub 10-minute runs, just in case anyone's getting into this and trying to set like goals for themselves. And then I do want to mention, like, the world record right now is like sub 7, and I have seen other people consistently get like sub 8s, kind of depending on luck a little bit, but it is possible to get rather good at this, and it does just take quite a bit of practice to get good at it. But yeah, try and shoot for six runs an hour ideally, and then you're in a good spot. Now for the price check of all the items. So I did get 28.3 mil in cash alone, which is great. And there's a lot of alkables in general that you get, but there's also items like Arbok seeds and herbs and things like that that have tremendously crashed since the release of this, as they are just coming in the game like crazy now with this update. So there's time runes, there's energies, there's a bunch of salvage, there's bones, random dragon hide. Honestly, the loot here is pretty good. Like, for Iron Man specifically, like Elderwood spirit seeds or spirits are really useful for late game. Time runes are great. And then I did get the drop, obviously, but that is untradeable and doesn't have a value as of right now. So after insta-selling almost everything, all the other items, we have 113.8 mil in like essentially raw GP, which is pretty great. Honestly, it's not too bad for Iron Man, and it's very consistent raw GP for like literally no requirements other than the high thieving, but there's no high gear requirements or anything like that. And then the Arbok seeds, those do eventually sell. Right now, I think they're at like 23 or 24k is what I sold them for. So let's just round up or like kind of round down to like 120 mil, and that's without any rares. You gotta imagine, like, if I got a rare, it would have increased quite a bit. And on the XP side, I did get 22 million XP, so this works out to 2.2 million thieving XP an hour, which to my knowledge is essentially the best training method. So how does this stack up? So I did make 12 mil an hour, and honestly, when I was doing this, I found it really chill. I was able to play on 4 of my ults around the same time. There's points where you have to have a lot of focus while doing this method, but also there's some points where you just click a chest, and then you got some time to click, so I thought this was fairly chill. It is intensive, but it also has some good breaks. And honestly, like, 2.2 million XP thieving XP an hour is actually kind of nuts. So where does that rank compared to everything else? So right now it is the 10th best moneymaker I've covered so far, sitting right underneath Krill Godwar's dungeon during like Necromancer release, and it was actually better than normal mode Zuck. So honestly, I think it's very solid. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I think if you're training this, you're using this method to train for thieving, it's probably the correct choice. It's not AFK, it's pickpocketing. But because you have items like the Note on Spike Harness that's currently untradeable, I envision they might change that. But right now it is untradeable. I think this is just key for any Mei account. And then if you're an Iron Man, you want both of these. You want the harness and you want the dagger. So honestly, very good update. Some people think the items are too rare. I think there should maybe be some bad luck mitigation, and I also think there should be some changes around the spike harness. Either make it a guaranteed drop after X amount of loot, or just make it tradable and treat it as everything else. But yeah, what do you guys think of the method so far? I think Heist 2, and I'm probably going to test the next Heist as well, so subscribe for that. But honestly, really fun. It's one of the few contents I've finished and I do want to go back to and do. But anyways, until next time, bye.